You know, it would seem that when you say, for instance, that you do not, if you were a judge,
I won't grant bail. That's very clear to me.
It would seem that that's also the reading. A lot of people are saying, you know, in the security agencies, that they're wondering why.
It's not only security agencies. Go and do your survey. The average Nigerian, they are aghast at the liberalism of our courts in granting bail. Do your survey.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying that the court cannot behave as an ostrich. You need to align yourself to the expectation of the people, even whilst you are doing justice. And that's why I've called for the evolution of a judicial policy that recognizes that we are dealing with a very severe situation.
Let me land on my question. So you say that, you know, that's also the feeling of Nigerians and perhaps the feeling of security agencies in that particular manner. So they're wondering why is it that this judge has granted bail, and so to truncate it, they go back and rearrest the person?
No, I didn't say that.
I'm simply saying, is that the reading?
No,
because it will not be far-fetched if, for instance, because we have to ask, if, for instance, the judge did not grant bail.
No. Let's put this in perspective.
No, let me land on this.
Yes.
If, for instance, the judge did not grant bail and the case went through, for instance, and the person is convicted, I'm just giving an instance, are you saying that after that person has served out his or her term, as soon as the person is released again, you will go back and rearrest the person because there were other offenses?
That's far-fetched.
Exactly. So if that is far-fetched, why is it then that for every instance that this person has been released on bail, you go back and rearrest the person, you know, the person will go back again and get bail? Are you going to be going to all of these courts to face all of these charges? Okay. How is it going to work?
Let me answer the question. Dazgu was released on bail the first time. You never knew that this $2 billion thing was in the offing. The first time it was about having guns and all that. And for charges bordering on treason. And he was released on bail that time. And people say, oh, there was no reason for you. You are violating the rule of law. And he was held back. And he was arraigned. And so the third time. So that's why I'm saying that you do not know even whether even now there are still some offenses that are to be tried. And that's why I said that, look, all the president needed to have said yesterday, look, yes, we are operating within the rule of law. It cannot be right for a president to say that we won't allow him to go because he's committed these huge offenses or they've committed these atrocities. No, your prosecutor or your attorney general has made representation in court, has opposed bail, and the court has overruled your prosecutor or your attorney general. So you have to comply. But if the president would say that, look, I believe that there are still other offenses that are going to be tried. I'm saying that for that, if there are those other offenses. That's the point I'm making.
And you say your reasons are based on the rule of law and you're not speaking with emotions on this particular matter.
No, it's the rule of law. What is the rule of law? People just ban the rule of law. What is this rule of law that we're talking about? We're familiar with what the rule of what I've stated, you know, way back, and now is that the law is being used as a ruse. Yeah.
By who?
By many people, including lawyers. The law is being used as a ruse. There was rule of law in this country when Marcel Awokuleyin said that Ibori didn't do anything. In this country, there was that rule of law. Wasn't there a rule of law? There was a rule of law. For crying out loud. But elsewhere, we are also made to see another color, the real color of the rule of law.
So what's the color of the rule of law?
The color of the rule of law is that you abide by the law. You abide by the law. That's what the rule of law says. You cannot displace justice while you claim that you are promoting the rule of law.
How do we come to the conclusion that they displace justice? Because we thought that all the processes are there. As we see with election petition cases, if one gives judgment you don't like it, go to the next stage. I mean, lawyers also say, look, don't start going to
You know,
and talking
I'm
about
just
some of these
telling you
cases.
that we are dealing with serious issues. This is no circus. Look, we
Serious
are lucky
issues.
that we have democracy in Nigeria.
But we
Otherwise,
still-
people will be given instant revolutionary justice.
Serious
Very-
issue
very-
doesn't mean we shouldn't go through the processes that we laid
And
out.
they are going
Does
through
it-
the
does it mean-
processes. They're going through the processes. Look, if I were that, what will I do? I'll still keep going to court, keep challenging the court. So why is it my own cup of tea?
Mr. Ogunye, before we leave, you know, the president also spoke concerning the monies that the National Assembly has budgeted for cars. Were you satisfied with his answers?
Extremely satisfied. And I hope that beyond those words, you will move to action. The legislature is another arm of government, but the president is the president of Nigeria. And he said, look, I set an example. I inherited vehicles from the previous administration. I refused to accept a proposal for a 400 million naira new car purchase deal. And so, in this case, the legislators are not even being told to inherit the vehicles used by their predecessors. So, they are better off than the president. They've collected money under monetization policy to acquire their vehicles. But now, strangely, they've ordered new vehicles in the name of committee vehicles. That's why I'm saying that we're dealing with very serious situation. We just think that it's a circus, that we have all the liberty in the world to do as we please.
Well, the response of some of the lawmakers actually said, well, over 80% of the 7th Senate or legislatures did not return, and they had the opportunity to purchase their pool vehicles after 4 years lifespan of the committee vehicles. So
So
they
they
say,
go with the vehicle.
how will 80% then do their functions if they don't have those vehicles, if the previous ones have left with it?
Who sold it to them? The president or the bureaucracy of the National Assembly? Are you forgetting how things are done in this country? You buy a car today, in 4 years, you devalue it, and then you get almost 3%, 10% of the value, and you sell it off to yourselves. Look, we need to get serious. That's what I'm saying. We need to get serious. There are parts of the world, modern world, where Prime Minister, Sweden, elsewhere, ride bicycles to go to the parliament, to go to the office. Do you know that?
But that's
Look, we need to get serious.
Well, if we need to get serious, shouldn't we then begin to look at, because if they say, look, we're doing all of this because we're within what is permissible, shouldn't we then look at some of those laws and what obtain and say, no, this law has got to change, this has got to change, so that everyone will be seen to abide by what is required?
There's nothing fundamentally wrong with that law. There's everything wrong
But
with it.
yeah, they keep telling us, these people
I
are
said
left
that-
with the car, they left with the house, we can't perform functions, we have to buy. Now this discussion is popping up again this year.
So which law permits you to loot the treasury? You know, the other time, several episodes ago, when the South African situation happened, you were asking me a question, and I was very angry on that occasion. I said, no. And you said, Colin Sabo Dazuki signed off on this. There was a certification of an end user. I could remember you say on that occasion, that $9 million. And I said, no, this is money laundering. What has happened now? So people twisted the law. And then they say that it is permissible.
Lawyers.
People.
Not lawyers. Well, Jiti Ogunye is a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming out this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Well, that's where we end the program this morning. We thank you all for watching. Oh, it's the last
the
one
year.
for the year.
And what a way to wrap it up. I just kept staring at Mr. Ogunye.
You know, Director, give me a minute. It's just like Peter Cech, while he was to fulfill that, I think 170 clean sheets. He said 5 minutes to the end of the game, he kept on looking at his watch. Oh, come on, blow the whistle already, ref. So eventually the whistle was blown. He's now the highest, he's got the highest clean sheets in the English Premier League. So it's almost like that now. Looking at the watch, well, it's not over for the day. We still have work to do after this. But hey, thank you for your company. I'm Chamberlain, so.
Well, I should say thank you for your company throughout the year. Thank you for being there for us, and we're happy to be there for you always. I'm Maokwe Ogun.
Many thanks. I'm Sulaiman Ale there, waiting to exhale.